Tonight we have the opportunity to virtually travel to Nashville, the music city, and I am so excited because I have an awesome panel that's going to give us the inside access into everything Nashville. So please welcome me in welcoming Ms. Luann from the Nashville Convention and Visitors Corporation. Welcome, Luann.
Hi.
We also have Dana from the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. Welcome, Dana. Hey, thanks for having us. Thanks for being here. And finally, we have Wayne, who brings with him 29 years of experience from the Grand Ole Opry. Welcome, Wayne.
Thank you. It's good to be with you.
So, it's no secret that Nashville has really been making headlines lately for one of the hottest travel destinations. And it seems that in the past 5 or so years, it's really been going through a mini renaissance. Luann, can you tell us a little bit about the developments and changes in Nashville?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you all so much for listening in today. We're really excited to talk to you about all the opportunities here in Nashville. But yeah, I mean, we have really just grown leaps and bounds. I've been here for 10 years myself, and things have changed, but we're the same great Nashville. I think just a lot of people found out about it. So, we welcomed about 14.8 million visitors in the last year, and these are just a few of the recent accolades that we've received, and are just really excited to share Music City with everyone who is coming to experience it. And that's really what our story is. We are music. We like to tell that story. We are known so well for our country music, but there's a ton of great music here, not just country, blues, rock, soul, gospel, you name it. You can really find a little bit of everything here.
That's awesome. On the next slide, we talk a little bit about Nashville's strengths, being authentic, accessible, and accommodating. Luann, I'm going to go back to you and let you kind of dig a little bit deeper into these points.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we really do pride ourselves on 3 different pillars. Our authenticity, I mean, you can read a little bit about the story here, but we go way back into the 1800s with our music story. We have the largest songwriter community in the world here. We are home of the Gospel, Americana, and Country Music Associations, and home of the longest running radio show in history, the Grand Ole Opry. But we also do pride ourselves on our accessibility here. So over 40% of the U.S. population is within 600 miles. So makes it easy for you and your students to get to our destination. There's just multiple ways that you can get to us. Our airport is close by. If you're flying in, there are more than 450 flights daily with an expanding airport at that. So we're seeing some additions almost every day.
That's great. And with all of that, you need spaces for people to stay, right?
That's right. Yeah. So our big story has been our hotel development. We've got over 14,000 hotel rooms in our development pipeline right now. And that goes into about 2021, and that does change. It's pretty fluid, but just a ton of development here in town. So this list just kind of lays out those new properties that are coming online between now and 2020. The Drury Plaza, that's going to be an almost 400-room hotel in the downtown area, Hampton Inn and Suites as well. So we are really excited about the growth and opportunity here.
That's great. And one of the hotels that is so special to Nashville is the GAYLORD OPRYLAND Resort Convention Center. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Absolutely. So they're great partners of ours. It's an almost 3,000-room hotel property that's about 15 minutes outside of the downtown area in the OPRYLAND, Grand Ole Opry, Music Valley area of town. But a great option for our student groups. They have some really wonderful programming throughout the year, summer, Christmas, over 3 million lights during Christmas. But for our students and chaperones, they love this property. There's a ton to do without the worry. It's enclosed, it's safe. And they are opening a brand new water experience at the end of this year that's indoor-outdoor. So December 1st, 2018, we're looking at sound waves. Here, you see just a few renderings on here, but that opens December 1st. There'll be 3 different levels. It's going to be exclusive to hotel guests, and that'll be something that a lot of our student groups will be able to take advantage of.
Wow, that sounds awesome. So we touched a little bit about this, but I'd love to hear you talk about Atlanta, about Nashville being a music city, because our directors on the phone, they are all music teachers, so this really speaks to them.
Sure. I mean, and this is what we call the promise of Nashville, and you can read a little bit of it for yourself, but we are truly that authentic, unique, friendly, unpretentious city, and that's what we want you to experience, your students to experience out of that as well. I say that when people come to Nashville, they fall in love with the city because they don't feel like an outsider. You feel like you belong here. And there are many places that I've been that I've loved that I haven't felt like I belonged, but still loved it. But I do truly feel like that's what sets us apart a lot of times, is that sense of fitting into the culture. And so we see that happen with students that come here, and they really can get this broadened perspective of what they can do other than stand on stage and sing. There are so many other ways to take your musical ability to the next level. So that's what we really want to showcase here.
That's great. That's great. So let's talk music attraction.
Yeah.
I'm gonna head this one over to Miss Dana and let her kind of tell us a little bit about the Music City Walk of Fame.
Yeah, I'll tell you a little bit about the park. But first, I just want to add to what Elena was saying with that last slide, too. We really want Nashville to be an extension of your classroom. You go to Disney and New York City, and, there's the lights and the glitter. And we have that here in Nashville, too. But you're also so raw in a creative community. And you might go to the Opry and hear a song that someone's just testing out for the first time. And yes, we have a stage for you, but this is also where the creation happens too. And so we have some great artists highlighted in Walk of Fame Park. It's in the heart of downtown, and it's right across from the Country Music Hall of Fame, the museum. So when your students are performing in our plaza, you have a wonderful built-in audience of the visitors to the Walk of Fame Park. And the Walk of Fame consists of artists from all genres, as Lena was saying, that are represented here in Nashville. You have everyone from Jimi Hendrix to, as you see in the photos, Little Big Town, huge contemporary country music performers and a great vocal group in their own right. But you'll see artists, Grant, who's a huge contemporary Christian artist, also known to one of our Hall of Famers and a Grand Ole Opry member. So that's another thing about Nashville. It is a little big town, and everyone is connected, and we want to make that connection with your students, too. So Walk of Fame is a great place to do that. You can also, a lot of student groups, especially World Strides groups, even will take our student sack lunch, and instead of staying in the walls of the museum, you're welcome to take that food over to the park and have a nice picnic. So definitely something to do when you're in town.
I love that, Kip, and I love how you tied it all back together with Little Big Town, because that is so true. Well said. Yeah. So Nashville's known for live music and entertainment, and Wayne, we are so excited that you're here to talk about one of the most historic stage, the Grand Ole Opry.
Sure. And to just reiterate what the ladies have said too, we're such a unique city in the fact that everywhere you go, there's that music that envelops you, and that's kind of the thread that ties many of the experiences in Nashville together, and we're very fortunate to have that. So you're going to have a progression with your students of learning that history, seeing what's happening today, and hopefully seeing what is going to be happening in the future of our industry as well. But the Grand Ole Opry, of course, kind of brought us to the dance back in 1925. So it's been around quite some time. It's probably one of the most unique experiences as far as a performance that the groups can enjoy. You're going to see between 8 and 14 artists on each one of the shows. And the uniqueness of that is you'll see people that maybe you haven't even heard their name yet. They are just getting their record deal, or they're just starting out. And But hopefully one day you'll say, oh my gosh, I saw them on the Grand Ole Opry. And of course, that's exactly what happens the first 3 times that Taylor Swift plays at Grand Ole Opry. Nobody knew who she was, and look at her today. But you also have superstars and stars of today on the show, as well as legends, all facing that stage on the same evening and getting a broad spectrum of what the country music genre is about. And most people don't know this, but there are artists that aren't in country music that actually face that stage as well. You don't have to be a Grand Ole Opry member to play the Opry, but you do have to be invited. One of the great things about our student performance program is prior to the Opry, much like the Country Music Hall of Fame that Dana will tell you about, she alluded to the Plaza area. We allow performances prior to the Opry for our student group, which gives them quite a large audience. We start those performances about an hour before the doors open. There can be as many as 1,200 or 1,400 people in the plaza milling around waiting for the doors to open and then for the Opry to begin. Once you get inside those doors, on that last side, you saw that big red curtain. We, for the first time a few years ago, allowed people to go behind that big red curtain and to experience the backstage area. Probably one of the most unique experiences at the Opry House is to walk in the footsteps of the stars, to actually be in the place that a lot of that history happened. You'll be able to go to places throughout the city and see some of the artifacts of what actually happened in the building, but you'll be in the exact spot where that happened. And not only happened, but we like to think that's still happening today. So the things that are happening at the Opry will probably be the things that Taylor will have in the Country Music Hall of Fame in 25 years. So again, it just all ties together and helps tell that story of American music that's here in Nashville. Of course,
there's another story here. Yes, please continue.
Yeah. The RYMAN Auditorium is nestled in downtown Nashville, only about a block and a half from the Country Music Hall of Fame. It was actually the home of the Grand Ole Opry for 31 years. Acoustically, it is second only to the Mormon Tabernacle in the country. As you see in the photo, it looks like a church, and the reason for that is it actually began as a church. It was the Union Gospel Tabernacle whenever it was constructed, and that helped us to earn the name of the Mother Church of Country Music. We could probably say the Mother Church of Bluegrass Music as well, since bluegrass was born at the RYMAN. So the RYMAN also, in addition to having shows there in a concert series, we do the Bluegrass series here in the summer, which is very appropriate for the RYMAN. We have the Opera Country Classic shows in the spring and the fall on Thursday evenings at that particular venue. And then throughout the holidays right now, we have Gil and Amy Grant doing their Christmas show. So lots of shows are happening there, but you can tour that facility during the day. It begins with an experience called the Soul of Nashville that not only tells you the history of the building itself that was built in 1892 and the progression of the building, but also the progression of Nashville and how it played a role in being the heartbeat of the music industry for quite some time in our city.
Wow. And a newer experience in Nashville is Old Red. Can you tell us a little bit about that, Wayne?
Certainly. This is our newest property and nestled in downtown in between the Country Music Hall of Fame and the RYMAN. And it's in conjunction with Blake Shelton, who is world-renowned now. The Voice has certainly made him an icon in the industry. And we've got a music and restaurant facility there on Broadway, part of the Honky Tonk Highway. And groups can go there for some entertainment and for a group meal as part of their experience in downtown Nashville.
That's awesome. That is great.
Yeah, it's a fun place. So if you're itching to have a little fun, come to Old Red.
Old Red, got it. What about the Jackson Showboat? What can you tell us about that?
Yes, we call that the grandest showboat afloat. It is a paddle wheeler on the Cumberland River. We do midday and evening cruises. It's a cruise, meal, and show combination attraction, so you get three things in one. Due to love it. It's a great way to see, as you can see in the photo, the skyline of the city. And right on the other side of the river is the Titan Stadium. So the students get out on deck and have a good time and take a lot of photos when they're on the General Jackson for sure.
That picture right there, it looks beautiful. That looks like an experience. It's something that you don't want to miss.
And again, all of our attractions within the Grand Ole Opry Entertainment Group portfolio allow students' performances. So as long as you have a ticketed or a mealed event at that particular location, we can provide you with a great place for your students to perform for sure.
Wow. Did you hear that, everybody on the phone? That is awesome, Wayne. Thank you for that. We appreciate that. I'm sure we will get a lot of, if you have any questions on that, please feel free to put it in your questions panel, but I'm sure a lot of directors are very interested in that prospect. Let's talk the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum. Dana, this is your wheelhouse.
It is. I'm sitting here right now in the Taylor Swift Education Center. I'm sitting in one of our really cool classrooms. It's in the heart of downtown. We are the largest popular music museum in the entire world. And we just did an expansion in 2014, and Taylor Swift donated $4 million and earmarked it specifically for our educational program. So that's why we have this beautiful memory here. And you'll also see a makeshift Taylor Swift tour bus upstairs where you can step in and record a song and email it to yourself. That's one of the many interactive stations we have here at the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum. You're going to have a beautiful set of artifacts that range from the roots of country music to the artists of today, and lots of cameo little spotlight exhibits throughout featuring today's artists. And last night we just had the beautiful goddess herself, Emmylou Harris, here opening a new exhibit in her honor in our East Gallery. So you're going to see a little bit of everything, and you can never come here and see the same thing twice. That's just as far as our artifacts go. Now, we have a brand new workshop that I'm so excited about for 2019 for student groups. It's called Inside Track. And we'll get to the studio in a minute. I don't know. I got excited. We'll just stay in the museum for a second because that's where the workshop is held. It's usually in our Ford Theater here at the Country Music Hall of Fame Museum. It's downstairs right off the conservatory. But the kids come in and they are met by a guy named Tyler Kane, who is a record producer in his early 30s. He's worked with Darius Rucker. He's worked on the TV show Nashville. He's already got a huge list of accolades under his belt. And then a young lady named Megan Lindsay, and she was runner-up on The Voice. She works with Blake, open for him. And she was also part of a country duo back around 2010, 2011. They had a few hits, and they were called Steel Magnolia. And they performed on Grand Ole Opry regularly, and were nominated for Teen Choice Awards and CMA Awards, and they opened for Blake and Bob Seger and Reba, and she knows what she's doing. So they meet her group and they tell them a little bit about themselves and their experience in the industry, and then Megan begins co-writing songs with the students. They all raise their hand, offer suggestions for lyrics and the melodic structure. And while they're doing that, Tyler sets up his laptop and a MIDI controller beat machine, and he has 2 keyboards and an acoustic guitar, and he lays a couple of guitar tracks down and creates a nice beat and a nice bass for their newly recorded song and newly penned song that they're working on. So by the time the students leave this workshop, they have a radio-ready song on their hands that they could, send to their friends and break it down in the classroom later on and make changes if they needed to. A lot of times they get into the different types of software that Tyler's using. Sometimes they get into just the life of a musician on the road, or working with a musicians union when you first come to camp, or the Nashville number system that was actually created at Studio B that I'll get to in a second. But there are very Nashville-specific things about working here that Tyler and Megan are happy to get into. And there's huge Q&A at the end, and they take photos. And it's so fun to watch their Instagram feeds after the program because they actually have conversations, and they're interacting with these kids even after they leave the session. And the students feel like they have, a mentor and someone they can talk to about their own music when they leave here. And that's what we want. We want kids to come to Nashville and even, know that even if they're not first chair in their symphony when they're out of college, or even if they're not Carrie Underwood front and center all the time, they can still make a living making music. So that's why Inside Track was really helpful with, and we're so excited about it.
Just to really quick, Dana, just to add to that, any directors, we have a video from Dana on Inside Tracks, and if you're interested in seeing it, please put it in your questions panel or shoot me an email. I would love to send that out to you all.
Yeah, and I would go as far as to say even Tyler himself would make himself available to answer any specific questions you have. He went to performing arts high school, and he's a jazz musician, but is also classically trained. And he can really, it's neat to hear him talk about bridging the gap between, having that classical training and applying it to working in the commercial music industry. So that can be really helpful for your students as well. So that's Inside Track. And then let's venture on through the slides here to Studio B. I'll tell you about a little program we have called Star for a Day. It's one of our longest running, most popular student music experiences. And this is where the students come and they get the history tour. It's a private guided tour of historic RCA Studio B. Now, this studio was opened in 1957, and it is the home of over 1,000 top 10 American hits. Over 35,000 songs in total were recorded there. And it's where Elvis did over half of his entire catalog. It wasn't in Memphis, and it wasn't in LA. It was here in Nashville. This was his home, pretty much. So your students can come in and make their own recording there. They have about 30 minutes or so of the history of the studio, and then they're going to have about 30 minutes to do 2, 3, 4 songs, whatever you can fit in that time span, you're welcome to do. So it's a great experience. It truly is. The studio is, aside from the OPRY, of course, it's one of the reasons why Nashville is Music City today. RCA was the first major label to have their own recording studio here, and it's still standing, and our students can be a part of it. Another thing we can do for y'all is make it a little more STEAM focused. So if you want to talk more about the recording technology evolution over the years and pass around different microphones and do a tape splice demonstration and talk about analog recording versus digital recording, and today we're happy to do that for you too. Our engineers are younger musicians themselves and graduates of Belmont University, huge music program here in Nashville that Luanna actually graduated from as well. But we can shift the focus a little bit too with also getting that history in for you. But that's Start for a Day. You'll start with that studio experience, you'll tour the museum, and then you could end up at OPRY for lunch, and they'll play your recording.
I love that. What an experience.
Yeah.
So the hat show, can you tell us about that?
It was Nashville's, it is one of Nashville's longest running businesses. It opened in 1879, and it's a letterpress print shop. And it is some of the very first marketing that was done for Elvis. Colonel Tom Parker, Elvis's manager, loved using hat show prints. Bill Monroe, the father of bluegrass music that Wayne was talking about earlier, that started at the RYMAN on the Grand Ole Opry stage, he himself would go and tweak his designs and tell them what to do, kind of boss them around and get his own show posters made. And this is back in the 40s, whenever they would travel around in a big old station wagon with a big bass fiddle on top and go plaster these hat show posters all over the town before their tent show that night. So it's been in business that long, and it's still a very effective marketing tool. And the RYMAN still does a whole run of show posters for every show that they have there at the RYMAN. So what your students can do, 25 people at a time, we'll take them in for the history tour of the shop. They'll see all the presses from the 1800s and from the 30s and 40s and 50s still running and being used today. Everything is designed and carved by hand, and they'll see that process and learn more about that. Then they're going to be taken into the design studio where they'll actually get to print their own poster and learn a little more history. So it's a great experience as well.
That's amazing. What, again, 3 amazing experiences that you have just described for us, and complete with the Old Red meal. Very nice.
See, what a big count. It all comes on the ground.
It all comes around.
Yeah. I will add, before, I know we'll talk about this later too, but for any directors out there that are watching and listening right now, even if you're here visiting with your spouse or your family or here with a bunch of guys or gals for a fun weekend, let us know, and we're happy to set you up with tickets to experience these things for yourself, and then go back and tell your students about it and get them excited.
Awesome. Thank you. I know that there's many other music attractions, and I'm gonna kick this one over to Luana and let her talk a little bit more about it.
Yeah, absolutely. I will say too, our whole city is very collaborative. So you can kind of rest assured that if you've got an issue, have something that comes up, we all, as you see, work really well together. So that's something that I'm thankful. It makes my job much easier that all of our partners do work so well together. So you'll see that throughout town, but there certainly are a ton of music attractions here, other than Country Music Hall of Fame and Grand Ole Opry experiences that we just covered. But the Musicians Hall of Fame and Museum that you see pictured here, they just opened their Grammy Museum Gallery last year. Great little interactive experience, and really does highlight some of those behind-the-scenes musicians, some of the famous riffs that you've heard. So it does give a pretty well-rounded view of the music industry and kind of lets your students see the other side. We can head to the next slide there, Lauren. And then also in the downtown area, just a few blocks away from the Country Music Hall of Fame and Museum, we have the Johnny Cash Museum, which is in the same building as the PATSY CLINE Museum. So those are owned by the same company. Your students can tour both of those museums, and really does give a really nice inside glimpse into both of the lives of those artists. Well done. Right across the street from the Goo Goo Cluster Shop, which is our famous Nashville combination candy bar. So we have a ton of fruit that will just go back and forth between each one. We'll have to give you all a taste if you come here in Nashville. You'll get yourself a Goo Goo.
Yeah, and then we have right here just some other music attractions as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So we just list a few more. The picture that you see here is one of our newest music attractions called Imagine Recordings. The picture is taken inside of a studio on Music Row, that's Soundstage Black River Studios. A lot of the great George Strait, Kenny Chesney, Randall Lambert, ton of great artists recorded there, but they have a great experience where your group can actually sit in on a live recording. So they'll book the act, they'll book the recording experience, and you see there are guests inside the picture there that have the headphones on. You can actually have your own little mixer where you can play with the reverb and the sound through the headphones, and you really do get to interact and sit in on that live recording session and really see how the industry works here. And then one of our exciting additions coming in 2020 is the National Museum of African American Music. That's going to be in downtown. There's a development called 5th and Broadway, which if any of you had been to Nashville before, that's where our old Nashville Convention Center used to be. Now it's a big development that's going to include a food hall. It'll have connection to the Renaissance Hotel downtown, some retail opportunities, but also where the National Museum of African American Music will be, and it's right across the street from the RYMAN Auditorium. So all really, really close together.
That's great. There's also tons of music events, and as it says here, always something to celebrate. Will you tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yes, absolutely. And if you really actually saw the list of events and festivals that we had here in Nashville, you would be blown away. It would probably be 3 pages long. There's almost always something going on. But these are some of the ones that we highlight, the annual events that do come to us. The CMA Awards are in November. CMA Music Festival is in June each year. We have 2 big free celebrations, one on the 4th of July and then one for New Year's Eve. You see the picture of the fireworks there. They're really something to see. And we have a little battle that goes on with New York City, and we each try to have the biggest fireworks each year. So we'll see who the winner is this year. It's a friendly battle.
It's a friendly battle.
It's a friendly battle, yes.
So let's talk, I mean, I love music, but let's talk shopping, arts and culture, and sightseeing. Tell us a little bit about Opry Mills. I know there's some really cool things that happen inside of the Opry Mills Mall.
Yeah, absolutely. So Opry Mills, they're the largest outlet and value retail shopping destination in all of Tennessee. It's a really impressive mall area. Great place for your students to dine, shop. It's right across the street from GAYLORD OPRYLAND. There's a little walkway that's well lit and safe that walks to and from the hotel to Opry Mills. Also right across the street from the Grand Ole Opry. So all really accessible right there, and the General Jackson Showboat. So that's kind of all in its own area of town. Some great opportunities to perform at Opry Mills as well. And we just opened the only music-themed Madame Tussauds in the world inside of Opry Mills. You can take your selfie with Katy Perry. It's about 60% country music, 40% other, so there's a good mix of pop, rock, some of the classics in there, Elvis, Johnny Cash, and then you get into Bruno Mars. You even have RYMAN and Deacon from the TV show Nashville. So lots of great opportunities, really interactive, a great display of the Grand Ole Opry stage where you can sing into the mic and the crowd cheers for you. So it feels really fun and not really like what you always think of as a museum. You are really immersed, and that's what we try to do in all of our museums and all of our products here in Nashville.
Wow. All right, Lane, I'm going to go to you to talk a little bit about arts and culture throughout the city.
Certainly. Well, we even have some musical attractions that are in the art and culture area as well. The Schermerhorn Symphony Center is an amazing experience and a beautiful building that's, again, nestled in the historic part of downtown Nashville. But probably some things that people don't know about Nashville, and you see pictured there the Parthenon. That is actually an exact replica of the Parthenon in Greece. Back when Nashville celebrated its centennial, or Tennessee celebrated its centennial celebration, they did a World's Fair kind of theme and did temporary building structures. But people in Nashville fell in love with the Parthenon so much that they turned that into a permanent structure. It houses the largest indoor statue in the Western Hemisphere of Athena. For a lot of the student groups that are traveling, they end up watching a little popular movie, The Lightning Thief, that the Parthenon is featured in, so they can see where movies have been made as well while they're here. The Free Art Museum it actually has a permanent exhibit as well as traveling exhibits that are there. Everything from historic car displays to ornate eggs. So they run the gamut of culture here, and being able to show that as a world-class art museum. Cheekwood Estates is a gardens and center that the students can go and have a history programming on some of the culture there.
Great, and I just want to note for those of you on the phone that our Festival of Gold actually takes place at the Schermerhorn Symphony Center. So that is something really interesting that your students can actually perform there. So thank you for talking about that, Wayne. Also, we have the...
I'll let you go to that next slide.
Yeah.
And students can also perform at our Tennessee Performing Arts Center as well. The Tennessee Performing Arts Center is a collection of several different stages and performance rooms. But we have Broadway series that comes through Nashville that students can take advantage of. And I believe we are still the cheapest Broadway tickets in America at the Tennessee Performing Arts Center. And it's also in the downtown Nashville area. So we make it easy for you to get around and get to all of our attractions and feel the many different flavors of the city just in one area of town.
Great. And Nashville, obviously, I mean, we talked a bit about music history, but it also has a lot of historical landmarks. Can you tell us a little bit about them?
Sure. Andrew Jackson's Hermitage is actually the third most visited presidential home in America, and it is nestled just about 12 miles outside of the city, in an area called the Hermitage area, and it's really, really a unique experience, especially in the spring. They use student docents to come in and tell the stories of the Hermitage. So as the student groups are going through the experience there, it's interesting to see how they interact by seeing other students that are in those period costumes and telling them the particulars about the plantation itself and about Rachel and Andrew Jackson. We do have another plantation in town that's called Belmead, and the Belmead plantation is in a different part of the city, but it has a very, very unique story as well. They have guided tours of Belmead plantation that they can take the students through, and they tell them some unique stories about the things that have happened there. And one of my favorite things is that the daughter of the gentleman that owned the plantation was asked to be married, and it was very important that she did not marry down, and he did not believe that her diamond ring was real, that the fella had proposed to her with. To prove it, she had to etch the window in the front of the plantation, and that's still there today. So didn't get a hoot out of that. And Belmont Mansion, again, where Dana was talking about Belmont earlier, the mansion is nestled in the center of the campus, and I believe it's about 93% of the case goods within the mansion there are actually period and were unique to the home. So it's great, a lot of history.
Thank you for enlightening us. That is amazing. I love the diamond story for sure. So this slide really just covers a bunch of sites, and Dana, you can highlight some that you think would be appropriate for our student groups on the phone. That would be great.
Absolutely. We all work really closely with Old Town Trolley, which you see pictured there. They would be happy to assist you in getting the students around town and offering very special guided tours around the city. Another really unique experience is with United Street Tours. Over there in the bottom right corner of your screen, they offer a really incredible civil rights tour of the Nashville area, different churches, and Woolworth on Fifth is it's reopened as a restaurant and an event space, but it was home to one of the first sit-ins here in Nashville, and just a great historical experience with a lot of information. And then we offer mural tours. Now, there are several companies listed that will take you through all the fantastic murals that are here. We're such, an art-centric community, and Nashville has done a great job of putting these artists to work and showcasing it. I mean, if it's not on Instagram, it didn't happen, right? So you just want to take all those great photos, and there's a lot of photo ops. They're all over the cities, and there's some tours that will just cover those for you. So something to check out.
That's great. And there's also some other things like the zoo.
Yeah, our zoo is fantastic. And I personally grew up in Southern Ohio, so I had the Columbus Zoo and the Cincinnati Zoo. And they're both, Jack Hanna, a god in our house. It's so cool to be able to grow up going to those zoos on school trips. But the Nashville Zoo is, just as incredible in my opinion. And it's so clean. It's very, very clean and well kept. And just the layout is great. It's just well maintained, and I cannot say enough good things about the zoo. And they have student performance opportunities for you, so that's definitely something to check out. Nashville Shores are going to have some fun camping and zip lining if you're ever here with your family. But student groups are happy to visit too for a nice little relaxing day off, maybe while you're here. And we also have the Adventure Science Center, which is a great place to experiment and have, some of that STEM influence and STEAM that we talked about earlier. There's some great activities there that the kids can learn from. And we want you guys to know that Nashville is very much an education destination. We are known for our performances, and we are always going to be Music City, but you have, you know, so much Civil War history, civil rights history, and just great educational aspects of the city that you can enjoy and learn from while you're here.
Wow. And that's not all Nashville has. You have sports, too. Man, so you're telling me one
We have a ton of sports. We actually just, we are in the process of putting together and building our Major League Soccer stadium, so that's our really big news. But our Tennessee Titans, you see the picture in the middle there, Nashville Predators, their season will start. It's actually, they're doing preseason games now, and they play at the Bridgestone Arena. And then the Nashville Sounds, that's our baseball team, AAA, I think I'm correct about that, Nashville team. Right. My husband will be upset with me right now. But yes, so, and they actually they just became affiliated with the Texas Rangers. I do know that. But there are some performance opportunities at the Sound Stadium. But it's also a great student option. They have a ton of different games in the spring, some really affordable food options. They have an area called the Bandbox, and you can play putt-putt, you can play cornhole, you can play ping pong, and watch the game. So it's a great place. A lot of families, a lot of locals come to those games, but also a great option for our student groups. They can get a little performance option in, and then go have hot dogs and see the show and play around at the beautiful new stadium over there. They also have a big, giant scoreboard that is shaped like a guitar. So when you drive by, everyone's just stunned to see the guitar-shaped scoreboard.
Wow. Next is my favorite topic, food.
Food, yes, yes. Oh, we have lots of great food. Yes, you know, we like to feed everyone well, including our students. So there's nothing better than a good meal. But we opened over 110 new restaurants in 2017. Almost about the same rate of openings for this year, and then more announced for 2019. So our food scene is really growing. We are well known for hot chicken. I don't know how many of you have seen that on the KFC menu or even Captain D's. They all have Nashville hot chicken or Nashville hot fish now. There's even hot chicken Pringles. So be on the lookout for that. But that's the picture up there in the right corner. But just a ton of great options. We have some restaurants here that can hold some bigger groups. So if you're traveling with your band and your choir, B.B. King's Blues Club, the Wild Horse Saloon is always a great one. At the Wild Horse, students can actually eat and then do a line dancing lesson, and it's free with their experience there. So they get to learn how to line dance on Nashville's largest dance floor. So a lot of great student-friendly dining options here as well, that they can really tap into some of that great Nashville food, but still affordable and can fit all of them in there.
That's excellent, and you definitely know that that's key for our directors on the phone is feeding large groups can tend to be a little bit overwhelming, but it seems like you guys have it down to a science. So we appreciate that. So we're just about out of time, unfortunately, but I'm going to put you all on the spot because you have said so many great things, and I am so excited to virtually be in Nashville with you this evening. But there seems like there's so much to do. If you had one thing you had to pick, you know, that they cannot miss, and I think I know some of your answers, but what would it be? Okay, Wayne, we got to start with you, and you better say the Grand Ole Opry.
You put me on the spot, but, you know, I think that would have to be what I say.
Yeah.
Grand Ole Opry, but you can't just do one.
No.
And that is what the Country Music Hall of Fame. Wouldn't you say so, Dana?
Yes, sir. Well, truly, even my dad's a mandolin picker, and I grew up coming up to Nashville or down to Nashville from Ohio, and I mean, yes, seeing the Grand Ole Opry, even if you're not a country music fan, just seeing how a live radio show works and being exposed to that production element is neat. And then as a high school music student, and I wanted to be a choir director myself, honestly, y'all, and I couldn't get through theory classes because I just played by ear and sang by ear with a bluegrass band. growing up. But as a music student coming to Nashville, and it's not just because it's a new product for us, but Inside Track is truly something to experience. It really is. And I can't wait to share more about it in our follow-up.
It sounds amazing. It really does. And Luana, for you, what would be your one thing?
Oh my goodness. I did not grow up here. I've been here for 10 years now, and I still remember the very first time I came to Nashville. I was actually on a school trip. I was here for all-state choir, and I remember the very first time I walked to the top of our pedestrian bridge and looked at the skyline and could hear the music from Broadway where I was, and it's what brought me here. It's what has kept me here. But I say that view and just closing your eyes after you see the view and listening to the music all around you. I mean, it's really something else. And we get a little bit spoiled here because I go other places and I say, well, I just want to find some live music. I want to find some music. I want to hear this, I want to hear that. And it's tough. So I say, sit here, walk downtown, take that amazing selfie from the top of the pedestrian bridge, but also just soak it in and really take in the beauty, but also the sounds that you can hear, because there's so much more beautiful than all you can see. You can hear so much beauty too. So that's my one pointer.
That was amazing and a lot, and I feel so inspired and excited to visit Nashville. I hope everybody on the phone feels the same way. You can tell your passion, all three of you, for the city. It gives me chills. It really does. And I love what we do. Yeah. I mean, you can tell, and you're all friends, and you work together. It just is an amazing place, and it's reflected in its people. So thank you so much for being here to talk about the little big town. Bring it back to you. This has been so valuable and just wonderful. So, directors on the phone, again, questions, send them to us. We want to be your partners. We want to get you to Nashville. We have this inside access. We are here for you, and let's get your students to the Music City. So thank you, guys.
Thank you so much. And I will say, too, we love working with your team. And so we say to your directors, you are in such great hands, and we are here to support as much as we can. So thank you.
Thanks, Leanna. I appreciate that. Well, signing off now. Good night, everybody.